Personality NLP case study for Ashwin. Since Ashwin has Magha rising in Leo as his ascendant, his personality likely carries a natural air of dignity, confidence, and quiet authority. Magha brings with it an ancestral pride, a connection to lineage, tradition, and a strong sense of internal worth. Leo amplifies this with boldness and creative self-expression. Ashwin probably moves through the world with a certain self-assuredness, but also a sense of responsibility to do things properly. He may have an instinctive leadership quality, but he doesn't need to dominate. His strength is in presence, not volume. From an NLP perspective, this ascendant suggests a self-focused attention direction. Ashwin is likely to make decisions based on how they impact him personally, guided by an inner sense of what's dignified or aligned with his values. His processing style leans toward kinesthetic, as Leo brings heart and body awareness, and Magha lends a strong identity rooted in emotion and instinct. He likely trusts his gut when something feels off and prefers to act from personal alignment rather than external persuasion. His frame of reference is also internal. He probably doesn't need approval to validate his actions and relies instead on his sense of integrity and principle. In the second house, Ashwin has both Mars in Hasta and Rahu in Uttara Falguni, creating a highly charged, strategic, and somewhat unconventional relationship with resources, self-worth, and communication. Mars in Hasta gives him the ability to act with precision when it comes to building wealth or expressing values. He likely has a sharp mind for practical matters, knowing when to act, where to apply effort, and how to deliver something of value. Mars here also gives him a proactive approach to money and speech. He probably prefers directness and is action-oriented in resolving financial or family matters. NLP-wise, this shows a strong kinesthetic filter with procedural orientation. Ashwin wants to do things correctly and probably finds satisfaction in organizing, fixing, or crafting something real. Rahu in Uttara Falguni adds a twist. Rahu brings obsession, innovation, and hunger, especially in the realm of speech, value systems, and personal assets. Ashwin may have a strong drive to master or even reinvent his relationship with wealth, status, or self-expression. There's likely a desire to appear composed and generous, Uttara Falguni traits, but underneath there might be a constant inner push to get it right, to achieve something meaningful and long-lasting. From an NLP angle, Rahu's presence adds a towards motivation style. He's propelled by visions of what could be better, more refined, or more aligned with his ideals. His chunking style here is likely specific, as Rahu pushes him to notice small flaws, strategize in detail, and continually improve. Together, Mars and Rahu make this house a high-energy zone. Ashwin likely puts a lot of mental and physical focus into his sense of worth, financial independence, and communication style. He probably speaks with conviction, builds with intention, and refines his expression until it reflects his deeper identity. His relationship with resources is not just about money. It's about how well he's embodying what he values. Jupiter in Shravana in the 6th house gives Ashwin a thoughtful, expansive approach to daily work and service. He likely views routine as something meaningful, not just obligation, but a space for growth and alignment. He may be a quiet observer in workplace dynamics, learning from patterns and applying insight with restraint. His chunk size is big. He connects small tasks to larger philosophies or goals, and likely asks himself, what's the broader purpose of this? His processing style here leans auditory digital. He values reasoned steps, ethical logic, and thoughtful sequencing in everything from how he works to how he corrects problems. Venus in Shravana adds grace, diplomacy, and emotional intelligence to Ashwin's work style. He likely prefers harmony in team settings and may avoid unnecessary conflict, not out of fear, but because he sees more elegant ways to resolve tension. There's a refined aesthetic even in how he approaches routine. He might notice tone, environment, or how something feels in his space. NLP-wise, Venus brings a kinesthetic and matching pattern. He likes things that feel familiar, comforting, or balanced, and he works best when surrounded by order and subtle beauty. He likely absorbs cues through emotional resonance, preferring feedback that is honest but kind. Mercury in Shravana sharpens his communication and mental focus in problem solving. Ashwin likely has a sharp memory for patterns and details in daily tasks, and he processes through auditory filters. Language, tone, and sound likely register clearly in his thinking. He may be someone who quietly keeps mental notes and solves problems internally before speaking up. His chunk size is little here, precise, step-by-step, and meticulous in how he handles information. Mercury also gives him the ability to teach or explain with clarity, especially when emotions are running high. He knows how to bring mental calm into busy or chaotic environments. Together, this trio in Shravana gives Ashwin a composed, observant, and ethically attuned approach to his daily responsibilities. He likely values structure, clarity, and emotional intelligence in his routines, and thrives in environments where thoughtfulness, patience, and listening are central to the culture. Sun in Dhanishta in the 7th house brings Ashwin a strong sense of identity within relationships. He likely approaches partnerships, whether romantic or professional, with a clear awareness of his role and what he brings to the table. Dhanishta adds rhythm, timing, and a quiet charisma. Ashwin probably values loyalty, consistency, and mutual respect, but also expects a relationship to function. He may see relationships as structured containers for shared growth rather than emotional free-for-alls. The sun here is self-focused. He doesn't easily lose himself in others and may instinctively protect his autonomy, even when deeply involved. From an NLP perspective, this reflects an internal frame of reference with a proactive orientation. Ashwin likely evaluates partnerships based on alignment with his core values and personal rhythm. His processing style is auditory digital, meaning he interprets interactions through logic, timing, and whether the relationship makes sense structurally. In the 8th house, Saturn and Ketu are placed in Uttara Bhadrapada, giving Ashwin a deeply introspective, restrained, and karmically sensitive inner life. The 8th house governs transformation, emotional depth, and hidden processes, and Saturn here suggests that Ashwin doesn't take emotional vulnerability lightly. There's a guardedness about his inner world. He likely reveals his deeper feelings slowly, if at all. Uttara Bhadrapada adds spiritual weight and a kind of cosmic patience. Ashwin may have learned to endure emotional intensity quietly, and he may hold space for others' transformation even while moving through his own in solitude. Ketu in Uttara Bhadrapada detaches him further from surface-level emotional drama. He likely seeks spiritual or psychological clarity in the midst of intensity, and may have a gift for calmly navigating emotional crisis, either in himself or in others. NLP-wise, this configuration suggests dissociation and general chunk. Ashwin views emotional change from a distance, often reflecting in big patterns and themes rather than immediate reactions. His motivation direction here is often away from, not as avoidance, but as refinement. He sheds what's emotionally unclean, unnecessary, or karmically done. He's likely highly intuitive, but keeps that side private, processing slowly and deeply over time. Moon in Ashwini, in the 9th house, gives Ashwin a fast-moving, instinctive, and emotionally self-directed relationship with higher learning, beliefs, and purpose. Ashwini brings swiftness, curiosity, and a pioneering spark. So when it comes to philosophy or spirituality, Ashwin likely doesn't follow conventional routes. He may seek truth through action, direct experience, or initiatory breakthroughs rather than formal education or established dogma. Emotionally, he's likely pulled toward teachings that feel alive, full of vitality, movement, and independence. The moon here makes him emotionally invested in his worldview. Shifts in belief may trigger deep interchange and vice versa. He likely finds comfort in freedom of thought, new beginnings, and moving forward from outdated views. NLP-wise, this moon reflects a reactive kinesthetic processing style. He feels his way into understanding, and his emotional compass often guides his philosophical stance. His chunk size in this area is likely big. He prefers overarching truths to granular theory, and is more inspired by what does this mean for my life direction than by academic nuance. His motivation direction here is towards. He's drawn to clarity, expansion, and purposeful movement, especially when it aligns with emotional growth. Overall NLP conclusion for Ashwin. Ashwin's NLP profile shows a personality that is clear, self-contained, and deeply aligned with internal rhythm and meaning. Across his chart, He demonstrates a dominant kinesthetic processing style, sensing direction and alignment through how things feel in his body and emotional field. When he moves with instinct and intent, often quietly, but never randomly. His auditory digital dimension comes through in structured environments, particularly in how he works, 6th house, and how he relates, 7th house. He values thoughtful sequencing, ethical logic, and roles that have definition. He likely does best when things make sense both emotionally and structurally. Ashwin's chunk size is mixed, specific in areas like finance, speech and problem solving, 2nd and 6th houses, and general or big in belief, purpose, and emotional navigation, 9th and 8th. He has the ability to zoom in on details while still holding awareness of the broader emotional and philosophical context. His motivation direction leans towards, especially when driven by inner vision, growth, and emotional fulfillment, Moon, Rahu, Mercury. But he also carries a strong away from current in emotionally intense areas, Saturn Ketu in 8th. He avoids unnecessary chaos or false intimacy, preferring clarity and containment. Ashwin has a predominantly internal frame of reference. He trusts his own timing, ethics, and emotional read over external validation. His action style is largely proactive, Mars Sun, especially when he's in alignment with purpose. Yet in his emotional and transformational realms, he can be reactive, sensing deeply and responding only when the inner signal is strong. Overall, Ashwin emerges as someone who blends instinct with structure, emotion with logic, and solitude with quiet strength. He likely thrives when allowed to move at his own rhythm, observing, refining, and aligning, and is most fulfilled when his work, beliefs, and relationships all feel true from the inside out.